Well, hello. I think I'm live. I don't know. I haven't checked recently, but I'm talking and I'm breathing. How are we doing, everyone? I've got my new chat room window over here. So Monkey Squad, hello. Good evening. Gaspard, hello to you. And Murloc 30. Good to see you on. I wonder if there is a Murloc 20 and a Murloc 10 and what you did with the bodies. This evening I've got a bunch of things to finish off and also hope to start some new features going on inside the Clomper. It's going to be a chill one. I'm exhausted. So, is this a good idea? I don't know. Probably. How washed out is my camera? Ah, it's pretty accurate. I am that pale blue deadly colour right now. Cool. So, where did I leave this the other night? I left it with a bug problem. Let's just run it up and see what goes bang. And we'll come inside. Hey dude, good to see you. Right, let's close that side off there. Oh, I remember. I know what I was doing. Okay, so if I move the Clomper over here into this spot, and then I create a quest using this here create quest button, then what we'll see, it's working still, that's good. This is the thing I fixed only last night, everyone, so it's just, I'm glad the code still works. You know, I've not touched it since last night, but you never know. Sorry if you can hear any background noise, my daughter is doing her usual crazy. So what you can see here is actually the A* pathing algorithm. We want to put a quest location down here, this is where we want to put a quest, and then it's going to try and work out whether or not you can get to that quest from the Clomper, which is over here. So can the players drive the Clomper between there and there? And that's what the A* algorithm is doing. Now if it had chosen somewhere over here, then clearly there's no way for the Clomper to get to there because there's a wall in the way and there's a crevasse there. So it didn't choose that point. So what you're seeing here is each of the balls are a ray cast, which is an imaginary ray that's pushed down from the top of the world and it hits the ground. And each one of these is showing the darkness is the cost. So very dark there, almost black, is no cost whatsoever. And then the cost gets larger as you get towards the Clomper, so they get brighter and brighter. And then the grey ones are showing you that that's the path that it's decided, the A* algorithm has decided it's going to use. And the little red ones down there are where the raycasts try to do something, but they're so deep down in the crevasse that A* was told, don't go down there. So that's what we're looking at. And I only got this working like really late last night. So I'm now going to take the code that I've kind of hacked and turn it around so it's a bit tidier, remove some of the hard coding out, and then test it a bit more. Because what happens when you are creating something that uses a lot of random numbers, the best thing to do is remove the random numbers while you're debugging it and then put them back in. So that's what we're going to do in a minute. Let's check out the chat. Yes, I had a bit of a bug problem. I mean, it's a ladybug, so no, it's obviously going to be a bug problem. And so, Nicholas, I hope you caught what I'm working on. That's pretty much it. Cool. Okay, let's pop into some code because that's what you like. Okay, so this is the code in here that does all the quest locating. Oh, there we go. This is the code that does all the quest locating. If I just minimize that for a second. So you have two find methods. The second one here I'm probably not going to use. And this find method here goes through a whole bunch of steps. Now you can ignore anything that says debug. So it comes in here, picks a random location, I then override it for testing, and then it says, is it inside the map range, is it close to the Clomper? And if it's not, it carries on going, and then it says, if it's not a flat area, then try again, and if it can't path to it, then try again. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of this one, because that's hard coding the position. And now we'll be using random location again. So let's just pop back into Unity. and we'll give that a run. Sorry if my voice is really gravelly. I hope that's not too bad. I do feel like I'm doing some sort of ASMR, but then I usually am. And that's Monkey Squad, absolutely right, it's A star. It's exploring the possible space, there we go. Okay, so the green sphere is only at one side and not the other. Well, let's see if we can get it to run again. So the green sphere is just the starting point. I made it green because it's the starting point. It's just so I could figure out which one was the starting point. Now, hopefully this time, I'm going to move the Clomper somewhere else because it's a better test if you keep doing different things. I'm going to let more of the map generate. Good lord, this is awful. This is a terrible section of map. Imagine if you're trying to move through this lot of lunacy. Oh yeah, that's awful. Well, I'm glad we're not actually playing it right now. That would be terrible. Trying to get through that lot. So let's now let's create a quest. And something strange has occurred. Because that's not worked. It couldn't find one. Oh, okay. Okay, I know what's happening. I've got some more debug code in here. Because I've told it, you're only allowed to try once. And of course, that's a terrible idea. So really, we want it to try more than one time. So in 1,000 points, it should be able to find at least one. Let's just check let's pop it in here, get this running, and I'll check the chat. So closest points, paths are tried first. That's right, Monkey Squad, spot on. I actually got an interesting idea while watching our last devlog. Ah, dude, that's cool. For some reason, I imagined a game around someone finding your unfinished game project and finishing it. Ah, that's interesting. Voluted Beret, lovely to see you. Hello. And Pandraman, hello to you. And then Dude says, with all the changes and special features added to the engine and trying to detail the purpose of the code. Yeah, exactly. That would, I don't know whether that would send someone a little bit silly in the head, or whether they would certainly need a fair amount of therapy afterwards. Okay, so if we create a quest now, here we go. So now it's found a new place. This is good. This is looking right. Yes, I'm delighted. I haven't actually completely broken it. So the system has tried to find this place here, this green spot. It says, what about this one? Can I get back to the Clomper over there from here? And then it's the A-star algorithm is all of these balls essentially. And it's showing you all the places it tried. So it tried to go this way, and then there's a cliff here. So that went red. And it went, no, don't go that way. And it carried on, and it got down the ramp, so that's good, but it didn't go to the corner of the ramp because that's too high. That would be dangerous, so it didn't do the corner, and it came down the ramp, and then it got up to the crevasse here and saw the red balls, so it went, no, not going to go that way, and then pathed pretty much in a straight line up to the Clomper. I say, I do believe that's working. Mostly. Now, of course, we've got all of the debug information on, but we also have the quest items. This is the debug thing that we're looking at. It's the quest location finder tool, and that is the drop-off location. So where has it put the pickup, I wonder? So where's the pickup? Oh, thanks for zooming right in Unity. That's brilliant. Oh wow, that's in a devilish place. Super. So in this quest, the player would have to take this little ladybird, clomp all the way over to this tiny little thing over here, this little pick up and drop quest item, pick this thing up, and then jump straight back over here, and then take it round through this gap. This gap here is quite narrow, round through there, up the ramp, and then drop it off there. Now, it is quite possible that the pickup could be generated right next to it, because I don't have code to make sure that they are set apart from each other. And you know what? I don't mind that so much. I think it would be more fun if they're set apart, but I think it would also be funny if they're right next to each other. Right. And that Monkey Squad, you're right, procedural generation. It's not recommended. Don't do procedural generation unless you really have to. Unless you've built your entire game concept around it, because it's really tough. Okay, what have we else got going? And something seems weird with the heuristic. It's exploiting lots in the opposite direction. It is, but only I think the way it works. Let's run it up again. Let's just quit that off. Oh yes, I've got my finder tool is quite clever in that it works as a static, so it can stay alive even when the game is stopped, which is kind of useful. It's allowed me to have a closer look at what all the points are. Okay, so let's just wind this up again. Cool, let's run it once more. We're going to create a quest. Oh, let's move the Clomper first. Let's put it in somewhere more interesting. Let's stick it somewhere over in here. Fantastic. So it's a bit of a hills biome going on in the middle, and this bit looks like a crevasse biome because of the number of holes in the floor. So, and if we hit create quest here, okay. So beforehand, the reason the heuristic was going in all directions was because there wasn't a direct line of sight to the Clomper, whereas now it's a bit more direct. I mean, this is still a bit evil what it's doing here, but I think it's working all right. That's fantastic. Let's tidy up the code now a little bit, I think. Yes, I think the heuristic is about right. It will explore in the opposite direction if it's not a direct line to it, if it has to go up and down hills. Do you have a large enough team? You'd use pre-made levels, or would you stick to proc gen? Ooh, that's a good question, dude. Deserves an answer. Probably I'd still stick to proc gen, and the reason is one of my goals for this game is for me to find it interesting and fun to play, and that wouldn't be the case if I've had to test it a lot on the same levels over and over again. Even if someone else made them, even if they're really good, I'd still end up testing the same levels over and over. So that's not for me. I'm not so interested in that. So I'm going to stick the quest location finder tool back into there, and then we're going to pop into here. I don't think there's a lot. There's some code I want to get rid of. So this code here was a way of looping through the find algorithm and trying to find places that were all apart from each other, and I don't need it. I don't like it. We'll get rid of that. The quest location finder tool, I think I tidied this up yesterday. Spare line. Yeah, this one looks good enough. This is for drawing all of the balls. That's what this code is for. Just draws a bunch of balls. And oh, I don't need map region. I think that was it actually. Was that it? I thought I left some other filthy code in. Really? Is there nothing else in here? No, that's pretty tidy. Let's go. Where's that way? Let's go this way. So inside map range, that's pretty readable. Let's kill off that breakpoint. I don't need that one anymore. Yeah, that was the solution to the bug. Get mask is not flat, is still fine. Yeah, that looks tidy enough. Ah, here we go. Right, there we go. I knew there was something else I put in. That's just going to kill the path each time, which I think would happen anyway, because I think the path gets set every time you hit find. Yes, it does, so that doesn't matter. That's cool. And then here's a star, otherwise known as cannot path to. Looks fine. Contains keys, file locations, and that's the debug finder bit. No, I don't care. And then a helper method to go to well position. Yeah, okay, that's pretty neat to me. Do I want to take out system collections? Probably. Right. Okay, what have we got? What's my git status? What have I changed? Anything in here that I think I shouldn't have changed? Environment world. What on earth changed in that? Okay. Let's have a look at the changes then. What happened in the world? What did I change here? Oh yes, I improved the way in which I calculate offset. That's fine. Oh, and I'm about to fix something. So I'm in just another monitor. It's quite cheeky. I'm going to come in. I organised my project using GitHub projects. If you've not seen this, it's free if you're using GitHub, and it's really very handy. God, dude's more questions. Fantastic, dude. Thank you. So what changes would you make were you to have a relatively large team to work with? I'd have more automated testing, would be the first thing I put in. Automated testing allows you to speed up your cycles. I would already have a Steam page. I'd have someone in charge of marketing because I'm not very good at it. I would probably have someone making concept art as well. So when I do the next graphical refresh, that will work. Same thing. Hello there. Good to see you. Right. Ensure quest is achievable. Lovely. So this was the item I was working on. It's hash 458. So now we can come back into here, and I can do a git. Oh, hello. Something went funny with my monitor. Add all those things into git. Just stage them ready to be committed. They're all good. There's nothing else weird in there. No, that'll be fine. And then with git, we'll commit this with the message. Quest location now achievable. And we can say it fixes 458, and this is a lovely bit of magic. And when I push this up to git, it will then move that ticket automatically, and that makes me feel really cool. And I think also this, as a side effect, this one here is also correct. This one also is fixed because the quest locations before were always generated on a flat tile. So I'll explain what that means in a moment. I have a bunch of different, the world is actually made up of tiles. And you'd have ones like this one here is completely flat. And that's where the quests were always generated on. But now, because of the random system, it can generate anywhere where it's feasible. So that was a feature that's completed as 458. When it's put in the little, and we're going to close that one off as well. We don't need that one now. That's cool. Okay, now the Clomper top speed must be 12 on the flat. That's alright, but not as much fun as this one. Okay, let me explain this next feature. So, you're inside the Clomper. Oh, hello, am I? Oh, no, oh, there we go. So, let's just make the game view a bit wider so we see what's going on. And I'm going to cheat in some pipes. Whee! There we go. And we've got our map. And on our map we can see these two pieces here are the ramps. So let's start rolling. This is where I crash because I'm actually terrible at playing my own game. I could actually end up going into the into the crevasse here. So inside the Clomper, when you're either going up a ramp or if you... Am I going to crap? Am I going to go into it? Oh, hello. Oh, let's do a quick turn. I might be looking at the right-hand side of the monitor. The right-hand side there. I might be looking at that, which is a sort of cheating. The Clomper is moving far too quickly at the moment. For the amount of steam that's in there, it's not right. So we can also cheat the boiler pressure down a little bit. But yeah, I need to rescale that. There is an issue there. So here we go. Let's see if we can turn a little bit. Oh, it's not letting us up the ramp, is it? Oi, get back up the ramp. Have I now not got enough steam to get up the ramp? It's possible. Where are you going? Let's turn the other way. That'd be a good idea. So, more in the design philosophy. What would I change if I would make a relatively large team to work with? If I could just tell people, dude, just go and make this wonderful game and then not have much input on it, then I'd probably fix the map because it would go a lot faster. And I'd probably have it so that you could design more of the inside of the Clomper, like set where the machines were, how many boilers you wanted, that sort of thing. But that's to make more of a creative aspect to this than there is at the moment. But that's not really necessary for the game to be fun. Okay. So here we go. We're struggling up a curve because I've not got much steam. And there, yeah, it's really struggling now. It's struggling on the. Okay, it needs more steam. More steam. Because I'm not giving it enough steam. So let's get these boilers going a bit more. I could use the cheat, but I'm just doing this to show. There we go. Now we're moving up. There we go. That's a reasonable speed. So, if we just pause at this point. Now, if we had some stuff inside the Clomper here, at this point you'd expect it all to be kind of falling backwards down the back of the Clomper because we're on a ramp. So items need to be affected when they're inside the Clomper, and that's what I'm going to work on now. So we're going to need some kind of physicsness to stuff. Good evening, underfunded scientist. So what are the other bits? So in this stream I just wanted to finish off the bug that I'd found, which was to do with quest location planning, same thing, and now I'm going to be working on getting objects to fall backwards. What design decisions were you forced to make that you wouldn't make if you had the manpower outside threat? Just simplification. Just simplify anything right down, particularly graphics wise. I'm not bad at 3D, I've got a history in it, but yeah, I'd make all of the models a lot more complicated, I think. Going with a kind of open vehicle would make more sense. Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to get outside the Clomper, and I understand that, I appreciate that. But the whole point is that it's a hellscape outside and you die if you go there. Righty, now let's have a look at moving it. We need to get an object inside. So that's where the proxy is, but that's not the actual Clomper. The Clomper is actually down here. Whee! Right, here it is inside the Clomper. What a mess that looks like. Oh my goodness, right. So we now need to put something in here that we can have affected. So we need either a dead pipe is going to have to come at some point, but that might take a bit more effort. Let's do something a bit easier. Let's pop along to resources and let's put in a bit of scrap because it would do the same thing. Also, we can check with a pick up and drop quest. That's interesting actually. I'll come back to that later. Right, so let's put in, where are the resources? Oh, I'm looking in the wrong place. It's not in the hierarchy, it's down in here. And it would be scrap. Let's get something biggish, like a barrel. Everyone loves a barrel. There we go, fantastic. So it should use gravity, that's correct. All of this is set up properly, and it's synced over the network. Lovely. And lovely to see underfunded scientist. Absolutely superb. Just rotate the Clompers inside, same as the real Clomper. Now, that could work, Merlock. Absolutely, that would work. So, I could, the one that they're running around inside of, this one here, I could rotate it. But the problem with that is I want the lighting eventually to be baked. And for that, I'm going to need to have everything marked as static, so it can't move. So rather than that, I'm going to just pop a script on everything that needs to move and for everything to get a kind of fake gravity, which is going to be interesting. Oh, some more stuff. So, silly idea, have you considered a saving ladybugs mechanic as a sort of cool collectible? Obviously it's superfluous, but it'd be cool to see them hanging out inside and flying about. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting idea. Yeah, so maybe it's a cool collectible. For collectibles, pipes are things going to be main collectibles because they're going to be useful. I think the other thing that people are going to want to collect, I imagine, is the fire sprites who live down in the boilers. Well, they don't always live down in the boilers. They'll probably get named and so forth. I'm just going to check that this object is okay to get spawned in this rather suspicious way, because normally objects, when they get spawned in the Clomper, they get spawned on this lift and they have effects added to them. Okay. Yeah, that looks like it's falling under gravity, right? Whee, lovely. Okay, so using gravity doesn't have any drag particularly. It has some angular drag, and it needs angular drag because when we pick it up, we move it around. Whee, running around with your big Clomper thing. So you need to have a little bit of angular drag, otherwise if you move it about like this, then it starts to rotate and it looks really weird. It wouldn't be a disaster, but it just looked odd. Okay, now what we're going to need to do is find a way to put the Clomper at an angle. So we're going to have to put that's fine like it is. Let's add a new script. Now I organise my scripts a bit different to Bracky's tutorials and a bit different to a lot of people. I organise them by what they do. So this one is to do with now, is it to do with items in the Clomper or is it to do with the proxy? That's the question. So did I put it amongst things that go on inside here, or do I do it with the proxy, which is the thing that's running around in the real world? That's the question. Which is the I love it when you select the top level. It just goes. It looks absolutely amazing. It's so overly complicated. Right. So I think it's more to do with stuff that happen in here. Probably. Let's put it in there as a start. So it's going to be something to do with the Clomper. It's nothing to do with the stations, really. It's Steam's. It's more of a kind of items thing. Is it shared? No, I don't want to put things in shared. If you have anything that says manager or shared, that normally means you haven't thought about it well enough. So it's nothing to do with questing. It's nothing to do with the proxy. It's nothing to do with the player. The pipes might need this, but not really. Is it an environment thing? Probably not an environment thing. I think it's a new thing. Where's the scripts that actually go with the scrap itself? That's the question. Where is the scrap? You can tell I haven't done this in ages. Oh, actually, there's an easier way to find this. I'll go like that. Oh, I don't want to jump into there. No one cares about this one. Let's unpin this stuff. Don't need this stuff now. Let's pop back. Okay, so scrap. Oh, environment. I put scrap in environment. Don't like it in there, right? I'm so picky. Let's put it in here for the moment because it's only going to be me doing these, and we're going to call this item physics from proxy. That is a terrible name. Oh dear. Let's just check the map. Here we go. Ah, evil mat. Collectible hats. Ah, really? Thank you for your feedback, Matt. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Rotate gravity with the real Clomper and rotate the real world in the opposite direction. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm aiming for, Murloc. I don't want to do that to the player though, because I think it'd be quite unnerving if you're standing there and then suddenly everything shifts. If everything's moving back towards you, then that's okay. But if the player moved as well, I think that'd be out of that'd be weird. Underfunded fires. The fire sprites are so adorable. They hold a special place in my heart. Oh, that's lovely. Underfunded scientists. I wouldn't suggest putting one into your heart because they are made of fire. Dude, think of it as saving them from the hellscape. Yes, I like that idea. I do hope to expand more on the world itself in the future. Well, just rotate gravity with the real Clomper. Yes, I'm with you. Sorry, I read that before. Perhaps Dude says, perhaps they contain something that helps with the apocalypse, or they're a symbol of hope, or just a cool aesthetic. Yeah, I will find something to put in there because I know people like collecting things like hats. Matt, yes, like hats. Richie, technical jargon you don't understand. No. Yeah, some PS5 games are made this way. Probably not quite like this though. Lovely, it's great to see you. Plasma Roblox, lovely to see you. And Tudvari, and you're listening to me while developing. Lovely. Well, I was tempted to just read out some manual or something just for a laugh one evening. Yes, I listen to others while I develop quite often, so it's quite weird to be in the other position. So my scrap is down in here, in my resources, and because I'm feeling a little bit leery, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them all, and I'm going to go back up to, oh, that won't work, will it? If I then click on that, then it's not going to put them in there, is it? This is an annoying thing about Unity. I want to take this script here, and I want to go, actually, take the script. Maybe if I lock it there, and then go scrap, get all of this. There should be an easier way of doing this. That's all I'm saying. And then can I go? Can I? I just want to. Oh God! No. In short, no. So that's fine. Let's just play with this one to start with, and then undoubtedly I will forget that I've done this to all the others. So let's take that, and then let's just grab that scrap, stick it straight onto there. Hello? No. Oh, that's because I've locked that side, so I can't see it. So it doesn't have scrap. That's fine. Let's stick that one on underneath my other scripts. Children of a prefab instance cannot be deleted or moved. Oh, fine. Right, we'll delete that for the moment, and then we'll come in and we'll open up the prefab itself. That's what it's complaining about, and we were using the barrel. That's it. There we go. Lovely barrel. Simple but beautiful. Scrap and item physics, which is a name I still hate. But we'll, just live with it for a minute. And then I'll take that barrel and I'll stick it back in. Resources, scrap, barrel. There we go. Lovely. I'm raising it just above the floor, just so it moves a little bit when it first comes into the world. Lovely. Oh, look at this. A brand new script. I hope this isn't too small for you. Right. Oh, I hate that they put things in here. Oh, God. And I haven't set up the automatic namespaces as well. Oh, I can't be bothered to do that. There we go. Oh, hang on a minute. We are lang.clomp, but are we in a world of having a sub namespace for this bit? That's the question. Did we put scrap in its own namespace? Was that necessary? Hello. There we go. No, we didn't, because it's not much point. Okay, this thing does not need to be a network behavior. The scrap one is a network behavior because we need to get hold of various things to do with synchronizing its position and the like. But this doesn't. This just needs to deal with, although I say that, but we only want it to run on the server. So it doesn't need to be a network behavior. This is why you should always put in multiplayer early so that you hit these things on a regular basis. And I'm using mirror for those who haven't seen my videos about me swearing about mirror. Not the item physics, but the player physics. Yes, that's a good shout. Create its own physics and keep. So possibly, but I'm using the standard Unity controller. I tried making my own, and it was awful. It was terrible. It was the worst player controller you're ever likely to see. Righty, okay, so the one that we need is, it should be private because no one else is going to call this, is fixed update, because that's where we do physics. But it's only a server callback because we don't want this being run anywhere else but on the server, and that's why it needs to be a network behavior, and because it's mirror, it also needs to be on the top level of the object, which I think I got right. Barrel. Yes, it is on the top level. Lovely. Okay, so what this will do, first of all, we need the proxy, and the proxy, fortunately, is on a singleton, which is the Clomper, which is why there'll only ever be one Clomper. I'm sorry for those that are very keen on Clompers fighting each other. It's not going to happen. And then we're going to mess with some gravity. We're going to apply a force depending on what the gravity is. But really, can you get at the gravity on the rigid body? Do you think? Does this have a rigid body? Should have. Yes, it does have a rigid body. So let's have a go at that. Let's get hold of the rigid body. A rigid body. And we're going to stick that private void. Void awake. And we'll set that up inside. The rigid body is the physics, really. It's the thing inside the object that says this needs to obey some physics. And why are you complaining at me? Oh, because I don't want that, really, because of naming conventions. Lovely. And I want to see in here if I can mess with the gravity. So it says whether I can use gravity. So normally I just, or do I just want to switch off gravity completely? I wonder what that would look like. I mean, let's just switch off gravity to start with. And what I'm going to do is, just because I'm curious, I'm a curious sort of mind, I'm going to mess with this. And what have we got going on in here? We create, well, you did pathfinding script. You can make someone else's movement of physics. Yes, I could use someone else's physics script. I could, but it would just be another thing that I'm trying to have to deal with. If Unity can do it for me, then all better. Now Clomper X. I can't really talk about that because that is, oh good lord. It's another thing that just, I'll come back to you, dude, but this is another thing that Mirror requires you. So it requires you to have it not in prefab edit mode. It doesn't like that. It's just one of these things you just got to get used to. Adding Clomper X that you can loot. There is a lot of world building to do, and I won't go into what the world is about, but you won't really be doing things with Clomper X per se. So if we move this over here, oh look, there's no gravity. Whee! Ah, because this is so what players would do. I know particularly the ones that I tend to play games with. Be like, whee, let's just throw everything around. Now the reason I've turned off gravity here is because I don't want to use the Unity gravity. I want to use the gravity from the perspective of the Clomper proxy. I mean, now you're just watching a grown man push a barrel that's floating around inside a very small space. Whee! Way! Oh, I got it all the way down the end. Oh, if it goes in the pit, do I get a point? Whee! Oh, no! I can't even mess with my own game properly. Cool. So now it doesn't have any gravity of its own. We are going to give it some gravity. And gravity, of course, is a force. And we're just going to put normal gravity back. So that would be rigid body, force, add force, add force, add relative force, add explosive force. I've been there. Vector 3 down, and I can't remember which way around to do this now. Oh, hang on a minute. Force mode. Oh, force. And what would the force be? Is it add acceleration? Is there another way? Because we don't want to do a force if possible, and we want an acceleration. Accelerate. I could just set the acceleration. That would be cheeky. Are they going to let me do that? Anywhere? Hello? Give me some. This is how I spend quite a lot of my life, going through trying desperately to find an API that I want to use. Velocity. I can set velocity. It's not the same thing. Not really the same thing as acceleration. Well, we could just try force. And we'll try force. It's going to be vector 3 down. And times it by something. I don't know. Because all of the scrap is of the same weight. So we'll just try and make it go down to start with. That'll be alright. Add force, forward merge mate. Oh look, people are helping. Lovely. Jirushi, lovely to see you. Thank you. Kuma Kami, nice to see you. I'll take my time, dude. Yeah, no, I've got a fair bit of evening. I'll probably carry on going until 10 local time. UTC, don't know, force mode. Force mode. I love the idea of force mode. Acceleration, there it is. Thank you very much, Monkey Squad legend. This is why I should always stream. I don't have to look anything up. And that should be fine, because that's a unit vector, so that will just be down. Hello, Lab. Lovely to see you. Yeah, that's great. And thank you to you too. That's fantastic. So we'll do with 9.81. Oh, it's closest-ish, isn't it? Oh, well, I could add some more physics onto the player. I think that might make things slightly more complicated, Murloc, because the player could be jumping and all sorts at the time. Right, let's now see if I've managed to accurately work out how to do this. I'm going to have to do dot product in a minute, and I know I always forget how to do that, so there's going to be some Googling happening. Right. Oh, it's fallen down. Oh, that's worked. Look. Fancy that. In fact, I think that's better than when I was using the physics gravity, you know, because it doesn't accelerate quite so quickly. Whee! Okay, cool. So that is now using the gravity of as it was before. I've just reproduced the checkbox. That's how exciting that is. I've taken this piece of scrap and I've essentially reproduced the use gravity checkbox. Brilliant. So same thing, what I'm working on at the moment, it's best if I just explain this using inside Unity. So you've got the Clomper here. Let's run it up. What I want to do is I want to, whenever the Clomper here is doing something, I want it to be, I want the, so hang on a minute, let me explain this slightly better because I've already started off in a terrible way. So let's say the Clomper was at an angle. I've just switched off gravity on this one. Let's say it was like this. I want all the stuff inside the Clomper. Oh no. I want all the stuff inside the Clomper to move about. So if, for example, if it was at a steep angle like I've got it there, I want this barrel to be moving or sliding or something. I don't think it will slide because I haven't set up any physics on the floor, but I want that to move somehow, especially if you drive off the edge of a cliff and you go sort of upside down or something. Then I definitely want it. Oh, I've got damage switched off at the moment, but I want the stuff inside to behave as if you really are moving around. So if you accidentally drive off the side of a mountain, you'll see stuff float around or do stuff. So that's right. So sorry, Murloc, I'm not going to be able to jump into that. It's take a while. It will take a while. I'll come back to it. Okay, and there's Saul. Lovely to see you. Super. So what I'm going to do is come out of Unity. I'm going to lift the Clomper up off. This is the proxy here. Lift it off, and I'm going to rotate it a little bit, quite a lot of it, a little bit. I'm going to use gravity. I might also make it kinematic. That would be cheeky. That'll mean it won't move at all. So it's not going to move at all. It's just going to stay there. So many boxes. It's just going to stay there at a big old funny angle, and that will help me test what's going on inside. Back to the code. This is the force we got down. Thanks to those who pointed out how to do the force. Now the proxy is the link. There's a transform on there. So let's have that as the proxy transform, or should we just go straight to rotation? No, we'll have a proxy transform. So that's on a Clomper is the class. Instance is a singleton pattern, and then you have the proxy, which is the little thing moving around inside the world. And instead of it being down, we want it to be the rotation of the, we want it to be negative of that, I think. So we want it to be in the direction now, and that's a quaternion, so that's not going to let us do that, which is fine. So it's, what we want is the vector that's going downwards. Now, you would have thought I'd spend like 10 minutes thinking about this before I started streaming, but you know, that's life. So we're gonna take this to Euler. It's just, oh, it's deprecated. Of course it is. It's just probably Euler now, isn't it? There we go. So the Euler angles for that. But I don't really want to do the Euler angles. I want to do something to rotation. I want to invert it first. Have I got an inverse? Oh, I think I have an inverse for Euler angles. Did I make one? Did I make one? That's the question. No. In short, I didn't. What? Invert? Did I not make a property for that? Oh, that would be weird. Okay. Well, let's just try that. I think this is backward. I think we have to... oh, that's the transform of this. That's the wrong transform. That would have been funny because nothing would happen. Ah, lovely. Okay, so it's a little bit of code. I'm managing to not write much code this evening. It's quite lucky. I've just deleted a bit. I think I've deleted more than I've written. Okay. Possibly. Oh, there's some... Oh, yeah, require components, a good shout. Oh, look. That's... It's a little bit like this is being held on the International Space Station right now. So, if I now take the Clomper, the proxy itself, and which is kinematic, lovely, and I move it up. I could apply whatever I could get the acceleration off the Clomper and apply that. That would be interesting. Possibly. Okay, I'll have a think about that. And I rotate this. Oh! Ah, now I know what this is. That's I know that's okay. So I've dipped it forward there, and it's gone into a wall. And if I dip it back, it will go into the other wall. And I know why this is. Rob's used the wrong rotation again, only for the 400th time, so go this way. And I thought, oh, it's gone out of the world. Uh-oh. Hello. Has anyone seen my barrel? I think my barrel's decided it doesn't want to be part of the game anymore, but it's disappeared. Let's find out where it is. It might have hit the... honestly, I have no idea where that barrel's gone. No, it's gone. It's just decided to disappear. I think it actually went outside the bounds of the Clomper enough that it hit a box which deletes any objects that accidentally glitched through the side. So the problem that I've done is that the rotation here is the world rotation, not the local rotation. So that's the local rotation. So come on. Help me out here. Local rotation. There we are. Euler angles. And that's still wrong. I know that this is wrong. That's a good shout, Murloc. That would certainly help out. So let's do that. Require component. I haven't done this in many places. Rigid body. Lovely. And the reason I don't do it in many places is because this will fail pretty quickly, and as I'm the only one using the code, it will fail fast, and that's fine. If I was sharing this with other people, then it would be more of a thing. It's less of an issue if it's just yourself doing it. Now that's yeah, barrel, you will be missed. You served the Clomper well. Yes, I think it did. So can you do an inverse transform of vector 3 down? It's a good question. Hey, oh, it's floating around again, which is exactly what I asked it to do. Right, so let's select the Clomper proxy and we go to it. Oh, I should have set this up when I was not in game mode. Right, so now hopefully the barrel is not just disappeared out. Hello? It's gone again. Why does it keep disappearing? I'm somewhat flummoxed. Oh, that's needs to. We need that to. Oh no, it's set up. Oh, something is changing the. Oh, I might have code that sets up the Clomper proxy correctly when the game starts. Yeah, I do have that, which is a good idea, but it's a bit unnecessary. Right, where's the barrel gone? Barrel's gone again. It's not even in the pit. The it's exactly the place I expected it to be. How strange. Okay, right. Let's have a look at what I'm doing with this acceleration. So it adds a force in a direction. That should be Euler angles that should be a unit. So that should be between 0 and 1 on any angles. And then it should multiply it by 9.81, and then that would give the acceleration. Alternatively, what I could do, this is probably a bit more filthy. I could get the proxy. I could get its rigid body. Can I get its rigid body through here? Have I allowed that? This is dirty. No, that's a terrible idea. That is hard linking together something in two completely different worlds. Ah, Stephen, good to see you. Yes, proxy inverse transform direction vector 3 down. Yeah, I think it's probably it. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, inverse transform direction. I think that's right. Minus 9.81. Oh yeah, yes. Oh, we'll give it a go. You know, thanks, Murloc. We'll just give that a go. Has to be the local rotation Euler angles. It has to be that. It has to come from here, because otherwise it won't be ignoring that at all. Hey Rob, curious to hear what your thoughts on A*, why you've chosen the pathfinding methods with nodes and stuff. So the nodes are actually just rays, and they're really fast. So what Stephen's asking is when it creates a quest, which I'm not sure I can quite show you. I can show you the nodes quite easily. Hang on 1 second. So if we put this back down here and switch it back on, and so we're going to create a quest, and we're going to have a look at the pathfinding. They're not actually nodes per se. They just look that way for debugging. So if I move the Clomper somewhere a little bit tricksy, let's move it somewhere a bit nasty, like there, and then we create a quest. There we go. Now let's make that larger. Super. So what we got here is a visualization of the A* pathfinding algorithm. But what's actually happening here is lots of ray casts. So each one of these balls is a ray cast, and there's only about 1,000 ray casts, which is about 2 milliseconds. And the reason the ray casts are so fast is because all of the colliders that I'm going to be using and are using are quite simple ones. They're going to be capsules, they're going to be squares, they're going to be squares, cubes, and the like. So that's what makes ray casting very, very fast. And I only have to do this at the point at which a quest is created. I don't have to do it every frame. So if it takes 2 milliseconds, it's 2 milliseconds every so often. It's not 2 milliseconds every frame. It's not eating out my frame budget. And it only has to be done on the server. Most clients won't ever know. It's done once just to check, and then that's it. A* is a good algorithm, but it's not very efficient, to say the best. I think the barrel is clipping because you're moving the Clomper manually, but if the game you move the Clomper and physics. Oh, okay. So Alejo, I need to. If Alejo, I think that's Alejo Lab. Alejo Lab. I apologise for my pronunciation. I'm British, so I'm terrible at it. Like the rest of the country, we should do better. So I'll come back to that in a minute. So that's why. So A* is one of those things. So I've got a very inexpensive version of it, but I wouldn't want to do this if I was trying to do something during the update method, during the game loop, because it's just not. It's too expensive. I'd find some other way, or I'd use someone else's asset, because there are things that you can do which are which reduce the complexity, but you start getting into partitioning your world space up by doing binary trees and things, and I didn't need any of that. Cool. Okay, so back to my problem. Okay, so there's a Alejo Lab. I apologise for the pronunciation still, but there's a trick going on here. The Clomper is actually completely empty. that thing that you're seeing there that's tipped up there is not the place where the players run around. The players run around down here in this one, which never moves. And that made physics and a networking, my goodness, networking so much easier if you keep the players in one place. So you'd never see it, because when you run the game up, it generates underneath. And here we go. So if we come up away from where the clompers are, there we go. Now we're in the real world, and then we can go back down, and there's the clomper down there, and it's actually up here as well. So that never ever moves, and it makes life so much easier in a million ways. But unfortunately, it does mean that now you have to do this kind of conning physics and reproducing physics. So it's not without its problems. Oh, I've just seen the barrel go through the wall again. I don't know why it's clipping through. It's not like any of my, well, my colliders are quite complex, I suppose. I don't think a player can clip through. And they have the same, oh, I think I might know why. Oh, I think I might know, hang on. Let's just make sure. Oh, it's floating up in the air. Ground control's made at the top. See, I can't clip through, and I've got the same. So let's just double check that I've got the same layer. I think I have. Yeah, I think default is for everyone that's running inside. Oh, well, I'm player CL. I'm CL player. Well, that's fair enough. What about fire sprites? Yeah, they're all D at default. And you can tell the fire sprites, bless them, they're all stuck inside their little boilers. Hello, you're right. So yeah, so I don't know why this thing here. I think this is why would it clip through? Because it should still be obeying physics. Let's just make sure I've set this up correctly. So the mass is 1. It's fine. It's got no drag. That shouldn't be a problem. It's just going to mean it's not going to slow down on its own. There's no interpolation on it. Okay, that shouldn't be a problem. Constraints, I haven't got any, and that all looks fine. I wonder if it's just if I move this ever so slowly, whether it's really sensitive. Ooh. No, it's not moving at all. Now I'd expect it to move. Oh, hang on a minute, because I'm not actually moving the Clomper proxy, I'm moving just the model. See, I've got the model selected. I should have the top level one. Oh, such a noob. Oh, and I've done a slight rotation there, and already it's disappeared off. And I think it's disappearing off because of scaling. That's probably what's happening here. So let's have another look at my code. This is all going well. Let's check the chat. I was in the impression that A-Star was crazy efficient. Only if you do all of the things that you need to the algorithm. So if you're going to use an asset and they've done all the clever stuff, then it's great. It's not actually all that efficient. And nav mesh isn't so bad. I'd recommend using Unity nav mesh where possible, if you can bake the nav mesh. But because I'm procedural, it's very difficult to bake the nav mesh. But I'd recommend that because it runs lower down in the engine, so they can spawn a thread and have it run on a completely separate thread. You don't have the ability to do that as easily. So anything that's like baked into the Unity engine is always going to be better than trying to make your own algorithm, because you are sitting on top of IL2 CPP, which is not ideal. So transform unit is not a direction. Not a direction. Transform up is direction. Yes, that's quite right. So that's just the local rotation. You know, you're probably quite right, Murloc. And velocity too high. Yeah, there's a velocity too high monkey squad. You're absolutely right. But I think it should be fine. So if we just go back to how we were before, and I'm going to do vector 3 down and remove the minus sign. So this is how it was before, and this should be fine. There's going to be a dot product in here in a minute. I know it. And we'll start this up. This should now work exactly as it did beforehand. The new nav mesh components actually allow full-time runtime baking. Monkey Squad, fantastic. That's interesting. I might look again if I had lots of objects running around in the world, which I don't. I've really got to sort out the player spawn at some point. So this is now just working as it did before. Fantastic, that's what I want to see. It's a bit floaty, but that's fine. It's actually quite a big object. Whee! And I'm giving it acceleration as I'm letting go of it. Cool. So that's normal. Now we need to take that and we need to use we need to add a force from the direction of the way in which the Clomper is pointing. So we have, just to think it out loud, so we have the rotation of the proxy, and the proxy is the kind of the real one, if you like. So that's the rotation, and it's the local rotation we want, I think. It was actually the local rotation, probably the local rotation. So you have this rotation, and that's a quaternion, which is useful to neither man nor beast. But we can multiply that by another vector, and that should turn it. So when we do this, you'll notice that this rotation is now a vector 3. So I think that's actually, it's probably the inverse of that. What are you complaining about this type for? Oh, it's the other way around. Oh, okay. So quaternions are very sensitive to the direction in which you have to take the quaternion and then apply it to a vector, not the other way around. Okay. Okay, let's try that. I know we're in a world of trying things out. It's just 101 phase. Dear man, good to see you. Don't get angry. Now, Lab, you're absolutely right. I'm using a mesh collider for the interior, and I've spent an enormous amount of time making sure that it works properly, because it's non-trivial. And server hosting, yes, it should actually work. Same thing, absolutely. Dude, just out of curiosity, if you were to leave instructions to a successor who would take over developing the game, 5 main instructions would you give them? I would say put menus in it. That would be the first one. I would then say add more sounds, add more juice, get it in the hands of more players. My players are wonderful. They're lovely people. They're slightly insane, but they're lovely people nonetheless. But I think more people need to play it. So I'm rushing towards a demo. Don't ask me for a date. I don't give dates. 101 phase would tell you that. I don't do dates. You have to work really hard to get a date out of me. Right, okay. So we've got a bit of an angle going on here. Lovely. Let's now... Which way? Oh, hello. Hang on. Right, now that did sort of go in the wrong direction, but in the right way. So I've tipped the Clomper upwards, like that. Let's tip it up a bit more. Let's have a rakish angle. Delicious. Way. Oh, look, here we go. Oh no, hang on a minute. I think it got reset for some reason. Why did it do that? Get back up there. Right. Oh yes, I know why it got reset. If I tip the Clomper at too much of an angle, there's a script on it that goes, you've clearly broken it. I'll reset you. So that is going to happen. So if we tip it more than, I don't know what I've got it set to. There you go, there we go. So if we get back onto the game side, I'll bring it up this end, let go. Whee! It falls and rolls. Okay, it's in the wrong direction, but that's a lot easier than it just not working before. So let's see the chat. Oh, I'm terrified of the chat already. Thanks for informed. Alecho Lab, you're absolutely right. We're about to do just that. You've been very patient with me this evening. I have to thank you. I'm quite tired. This entire room I'm sitting in, I took apart. There's 2 computers in here, one for me, one for the chat, and there's 4 actually, including my work desk, and it all came out. The whole lot came out, and it all let's go back in again. And I had 2.5 hours with a 5-year-old, my supervisor, jumping on me. So I'll stay nice and calm tonight. Thank you, 101 phase. I appreciate that. And I will be looking for a QA, although I'm somewhat terrified to let you at it. So Stephen, but yeah, I haven't gotten to the multi-threading stuff, which I think I really want once I populate the world. Yes. I would say on that front that although they're not brilliant coroutines in Unity, are much deeper down than people give them credit for, and they might do a lot of the work for you. And you can also use dots inside a normal game object system. So if you have a normal game object system, but you've got boids or birds, or you've got lots of little things running around and they need to use dots, you could use them dots just for that. And it's an excuse to learn dots, isn't it? So, bye Murloc, thank you very much for coming. Right. So, okay, so finally, this is sort of half working. Now, if only there was a way to transform. How would I do that, I wonder? It's gonna hurt me if I don't do this. Proxy transform. Hang on. Well, is that just gonna give me the direction? Transform direction from world space to local space. Oh, why? Well, we've already got that's all right actually. So world space, the local rotation is local space. That's fine. So that should be all right. And world space, we might have to come back to that. Yeah. Okay. So, but it's still wrong, isn't it? So I mean, if this is now just kick it off a cliff coding, as we used to call it, where you just try something, see if it works. I mean, it'd be fine if no one from work is watching, eh? Righty. So I'm just making up. It's 10 o'clock. I shouldn't be coding at 10 o'clock. This is just... What? Where's it gone? Oh dear, I just fell in a hole. Oh, yeah. Okay, well that was sort of expected, I suppose. Yeah, I mean it's wrong in the right way, isn't it? Because I told it to do vector up, so it's vector up. It's not the fact it's up and down that's the problem. It's forwards, backwards. Okay, yeah. Come off the ceiling. Come on, come down here. Look, I told you once. Stay. No. Ah. Welcome. This evening you're going to be watching a gentleman slowly lose his mind. It's all... That's just not right. Oh dear, I've written like, how many lines? 23 lines of code this evening. And quite a lot of them are wrong. Right, okay, so the local rotation. I have a feeling. I'm just going to try one more thing before I then try and do this properly. I think it does matter the direction that Clomper's pointing in. Stephen's got dots. Yes, Stephen, get dots down. I think dots is more about changing the way your brain works and solves problems more than it is actually complicated. If you get used to the idea of there just being data and then there'll be functions that work on data, I think that's not so bad. I think once you get into that headspace, it's not so bad. But yeah, it's quite different to game objects. My brain doesn't work that way. Hello, Lab. Thank you very much for your patience. Yeah, we all deserve the patience. We are all brewing with water, says Monkey Squad. Don't worry. Actually, it's nice to see you jumping the same hoops as me. Yeah, we're all jumping the hoops. I just make devlogs about them. So that is definitely moving in the correct way. Right. Okay, now let's move the Clomper. Let's make sure that the gravity's off and everything. Fantastic. This time, though, I'm going to turn it around 180 degrees. It's interesting that I haven't got any rotational. That could be quite funny also, but we'll come back to that later. So I'm going to lift it off the ground. I'm going to give it a bit of the old X. And now it's moving in the right direction. Okay. Right. Okay. So it is taking the direction. Right. That's interesting. So if I now rotate it around Y, we will see it move probably, and it will bounce down the other end. Right, so it's not actually using local rotation at all, is it? So I think my next game is to start doing debug raycasts, because everything is better when you do a debug raycast. Now it's really, so if I let go of it up here, it goes towards the front of the Clomper, even though the Clomper is acting backwards, which is fine. We'll figure this out. It's to do with local rotations and world rotations. That's all it is. We'll figure it out. All right. Transporting anti-grav material is really dangerous to do, Kumakami. Just don't do it. One-on-one phase. Okay, so actual game dev question. You know those funny glitch videos where an NPC turns into a spaghetti and flies around all over the screen? What's happening in that case? Right, that's a good question. Depends on the engine. What my guess would be is that it's a combination of using the animation controller has gone haywire. In that case, in pretty much all cases where they will go spaghetti. So you've got lots of animations trying to change the vertices of the 3D model all at the same time, and it just gets kind of lost. I think that's why. Yeah, Monkey Squad's quite right. NPCs are at the intersection of a lot of systems, so a lot can go wrong. But it's when you see lots of the vertices moving in lots of different directions, it's normally because lots of animation controllers are all trying to pull it in different directions at the same time. Okay, so what we're going to do is going to use this fantastic thing. Draw Ray. Is Ray the right? Hi Ray. Every time I hear Ray, I think of Ghostbusters. Hi Ray. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to take this out. It's a bit dirty having that calculation in there anyway. You shouldn't really nest calculations that complicated inside a method call. We're going to call this force direction, because that's what it is. You know, as I get more tired, things are going to get named worse. Simple as that. So we're going to draw a ray. Oh, we want to start. No, that's not the start. We want the start, the transform of the thing that we're moving, and this code is running on the barrel, so that's where it'll start. And we're going to give it a colour. What colour should we give it? Let's give it red. The barrel's red. Bad idea. Let's go yellow. Oh, the barrel's also got a yellow bit. It's also a bad idea. A grown man tries to pick colour. Okay. Now this local rotation. You know, I still think a Loco Lab is absolutely right, and I think I need probably the global rotation. But I think what I actually need is a dot. I think it's the dot product or the cross product from the front of the Clomper, and I'm going to describe this. I'll describe this, why I think it is. Let's have a look at what's going on at the end. Let's have a look. Right. Blimey, that's bright. Okay, so I think, how can I actually draw this? That's the question. Can I draw a Clomper? Can I draw a Clomper freehand? Wait, hello. So we got a Clomper. You would have thought I'd be able to draw this by now. So we got a Clomper, and that's quite a large. That's quite a large brush. Let's go. So we got the Z-axis there. We've got the X-axis there, and we've got the Y-axis there. I could have done that in a different color, honestly. So this is the proxy that's running around the world, and we've also got this kind of other Clomper here, which has got the legs in it, and it's got the boilers in it. Oh, this is the best drawing. I'm glad I didn't plug my tablet in. That would be really useful right now. So whereas this Clomper can turn in the world, this one doesn't. So what I need is I need to say, what is this rotation and what is this rotation? So in my pilot mind, that's pitch or rotation around X. This is roll, which is rotation around Z. This is terrible. Roll. I nearly wrote Rob. I'm such an egomaniac. So I want pitch and roll, but I don't really care about this one. I don't really care about that, because this one doesn't rotate, and the fact that stuff is rotating in here, that if you've got a box in here that's got to move about, then it doesn't care that you've turned. It only cares if you've got pitch and roll. That's my thinking, and I think that's what I'm doing wrong. I only need pitch and roll. And the reason I think, I think this is, the answer is actually, somewhat been on the screen the whole time. But I'm just going to come back to the comments. I'm thinking of Skyrim, for example, says 101 phase. Sometimes when a giant hits a person, that spaghetti effect can happen. Yeah, and that's Bones' inverse kinematics, as Monkey Squad points out, and the animation controller having a good old fight. And blending it all together. Yeah, I'm with Monkey Squad. I don't know the internals of Skyrim, but the only thing that controls all of those points are the bones, the animations. And yeah, and blending from one to another. Well, I may have to give dots a look. Yes, Stephen, you should. I've honestly been actively avoiding it. Also related to the fact I rarely write any code since I work primarily with Playmaker. Yeah, that's fair enough. And dots is brilliant for certain types of games, but I'm not sure Playmaker will be your friend if you're trying to run thousands and thousands of units. You want to hand that stuff off to the graphics card. Monk Squad. On the first frame, the physics state of the ragdoll wants to snap into a valid state and creates forces all over the place. Yeah, I bet it does. Same thing. Yes, you probably have found my Steam profile. It's brainwipe. It's not difficult to find. I look the same everywhere. And I know that will work because I did this proxy thing for planetary simulation. Okay. You'll enjoy my descent into madness. You know what's this is? You know, I've done this before. I've done this before. And it's literally been on the screen the whole time. This is the artificial horizon, and this moves in the same way that the proxy does to tell you whether you're going up or down a hill. So this is the thing, that the code that's in here is going to be the same code that I need. And you're absolutely right, Alejo. I might even dedicate this stream to you. So we're going to need some pipes. We're going to need to stop the boilers from going bang, and then I'm going to lift this one up. Lift it up. And then if I rotate this, you can see that the ball here, is there a good way of getting close? There we go, it's nice and close. It will rotate exactly on X and on roll, except when I reset. Oh yeah, the boilers have gone off. On reset, the boilers will switch off, which is, oh look, there's some things gone bang. Okay, well I'll check that out at some point. So if we lift position up, and we then roll it around. Yeah, I know, I've just reset it again. I've gone too far. I'm just too excited. Let's give some boiler power back. So then that's doing the same job. So I'm going to go and look at the code, and I bet it's inverse. It's like literally been there. It's the same thing. Let's go and find. I wonder what I called it. I hope I called it something horizon. Alright, artificial horizon, because that's exactly what it is in an aeroplane. Fantastic. Okay, so the gyro ball, which is not at all funny to me, because I'm not. There we go. That's just. Is that what I did? Okay. Fine. Well, okay. That's the angle. Then that'll be the. But it's probably not minus Z, because the ball works the other way. Anyway. So let's try a new force direction. Force direction. Force direction. Answers on the postcard. Okay, so we've already got that. Let's just remove that down because that's annoying. So we've also got that. So what? Hey. What? Have I just deleted too much? Too much. Have I just not copied enough? This is now. This is now. That's still open. Lovely. Okay, so that is actually. Oh yeah, that's why I copied that. That's because that's a vector. Ouch. Right, let's try again. It's a vector. Lovely. And we want proxy transform. And we only want X and Z. Local rotation? I don't think local. Euler angles. X. We don't want anything on the Y because we don't care about Y. And Euler angles and Z. It's just amazing, isn't it? I just complete 9.81. That should be fine. That's probably wrong, but it's fine. It's complaining because it's already specified there. Lovely. I don't like commented out code, but I'll leave it there for a minute. Also waiting for you to start thinking about how to deal with free fall and acceleration. Yeah, that's a thing. Thank you. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm going to fake it is probably the answer. I'm going to end, yeah, I'll fake it. Because in free fall, it will just, well, I already have the ability to detect free fall, so that's not a problem. And you can't free fall very far. Well, hello, where are you going? You're going the wrong direction. You're accelerating upwards. You are, aren't you? Look at that. You're accelerating. No, or you're just not accelerating at all. That's interesting. I'd expect you to accelerate downwards at least. I mean, have a heart. Oh, hello. Well, that's bizarre. So, I was expecting that to accelerate. Okay. So this is the angle of the down, but it's not the angle necessarily of that. What we do need, so that's only giving an X and Z. Okay. So the X and Z would be 0. So yes, there is no rotation. So it still needs to be added to down. It needs to have downness to it. We could just add that to down. That would be cheeky, wouldn't it? Because I'm not a BODMAS king. Let's do vectory down. I should add those together. That is so dirty. Oh, actually no, because we're not setting a rotation. I need a quaternion. I need the quaternion. That's what I need. I do need that. I need a quaternion, and I don't need that bit. I need the quaternion, and I need to make. It's now just this coding is completely chaos. I'm just stuffing stiffing. So quaternion Euler angles. There we go. Why are you complaining at me now? It's obsolete. Of course it is. Lovely. It's probably upside down again, but that's fine. So we'll get the angles off, and then we'll turn it into a quaternion. We'll multiply that by down. That will bring it to a vector. It's a unit vector. That should be right. Lovely. Let's bring you around. At some point I'm going to have to sort out spawning. It's not that necessary. No one cares really about spawning, do they? Right. Okay, so if I pick this up, fingers crossed, it should go towards the back. No, it's going towards the front. It is minus Z, right? It's fine. It's fine. Z is the other way. Let's see if I'll get roll wrong and then have to fix that. And then if it goes in roughly the right direction, I'll call it a day, and I'll come back to this when I'm fresher, which is really not now. Right, here we go. Moment of truth. It should come straight down. It's come straight down. Fantastic. Now, if I lift it off the deck, and I give it a bit of rotation, now when I pick it up and drop it, it should go towards the back of the Clomper. It's still going towards the front. What are you doing? What? You do want to go towards the front. Oh, I've dropped it in the hole. So much lands in the pit. It's ridiculous. Fine. Go towards the front. See if I care. So that would suggest that I've missed something. Okay, so is X the one that's got to be negative? Is X really negative? Is this okay? X, right. I'm thinking that this actually won't properly do what I want it to do, because as soon as I turn it round, I think these need to be local Euler angles as well. Oh no, no, local Euler angles would be the same. They'd be the same, because local and world angles are the same if you're on the top level of an object, which we are. So now put it back and pick this up. Right, it's going the right way. It's going the right way. So we have some success. Can I? Oh, it's actually right now. If I go forwards down to 30 degrees, because of the friction on the floor, it won't move by itself. I have to give it a bit of a punt. Oh God, have a go. Yeah, okay, that's what I want to see. Okay, so that's X working. I think Z also probably needs to be backwards. So let's, oh, hello. I use escape. I have a key for allowing me to get hold of the mouse again, make life a bit easier. So let's reset X back to 0, and let's give us some roll. I love a roll. Oh no, I've just reset the Clomper again. Never mind. Let's pick it up. Okay. Now this probably will go the wrong way. So, oh no, hang on, that might be the right way. So if we're now looking at it, yeah, it's going the wrong way. Has to be inverse. Inverse the angles, that does make sense. So if I drop this, then it should go to the right, but it's going to go to the left. It's going to go to the left. Whoop, that's the wrong. It's the wrong way. It's the wrong way, but that's fine. It's not the most elegant solution that I've ever seen, but it works, and we don't need the ray. It works for now. I think this is going to need a lot more testing, and it also, I need to add it on to other things. Okie dokie. So let's give it one last test, and then I shall commit up my code. Blimey, this has been a long one. I don't really do long streams. Well, there we go. Super. Might give it a go just driving up an actual ramp in a moment. So turn this out, give it some roll, and let's give it some pitch as well. And then we pick this up, and it should go back and to the left. So it should go that way. Here we go. Yay! Right. Slightly different test. I'm going to do it right above me, right above my head, and it should go to the top left of the screen. Yay! Right, okay. Right, so I'm not gone completely bonkers. That's fantastic. I know, too late. Let's now reset. That needs to use gravity. It needs to be kinematic. It doesn't need to be kinematic. Let's save the scene up. Let's run it up again. Let's put us in front of some kind of a ramp. It needs to be a ramp. Lovely. So load. Excellent. So we are rolling. We are clomping. So stick that up there, and we will turn this around. This is massive cheat mode right here. Whee! Right. We're sitting right in front of the ramp. How are we good for steam? All good for steam here at the back. Everybody happy? You good in there? I know. They'll all be affected by going up. Right, now we're going up a ramp. So if I pick this up, I'll drop it. It should go towards the back of the Clomper. Yay! My goodness, it's working. Okay. Now if I start turning us on the Clomper, it should, while we're on the ramp, it should do weird things. If I stand right over there and point straight up. Oh, it's gone to one side. So we're sliding down the ramp. Yep, it should go to the left because we're now on our side. So it should go to the left. Yep, that's fantastic. Hooray! Well, that works for one object, but none of the fire sprites are affected yet. You're next, my little friends. Oh, yes. And maybe try mixing angles. Right, so yeah, this is actually fully working now. Whee! And the other thing is dead pipes. And I'll show you what a dead pipe is by driving into a wall in a moment, because that's how I like to end my streams, it would seem. Oh, let's turn us around. I'm gonna give us some more firepower. Let's turn all the boilers up to dangerous. They're already shaking a bit, but it's fine. Yeah, pressure's up to the top. Heat's rising. Right, I'm going to drive straight into a wall because that's how I roll. And so I could do it such that collisions also affected all the objects. I might do that in the future. But here we go. I'm going to go for a big collision now. Oh, we're going at an angle. That's quite interesting. Oh, damage is off. Denied. Let's turn damage on with the checkbox. That's how exciting damage is in the world of clomping. You just hit a checkbox. Here we go, up into the wall. Oh, fantastic. Hello, fella. What are you doing out of here? Should be in your house. My goodness. Oh yeah, this one will blow up if I leave it long enough. God, what a mess this has made. So all of these pipes here, these are dead pipes, and eventually you'll be able to grind them over in the grinder there. But right now they just get in your way, and you have to delete them. But they should. They're also going to move, so I'll be able to get them to move in the same way that this does by putting that little script on them, and then they should just get on with it. It will mean that they'll do some weird things. God, what a complete state. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Oh, I'll just finish off with the comments. Try mixing angles. Yeah, I'll give that a go when I've got a bit more brain. Stephen, woo, yes, woo, thank goodness. Monkey Squad, I'm using public class. Oh, there goes another boiler. Public class game settings, scriptable things in public, which creates an editor window and persistent debugging settings. Ah, that's cool. Okay, yeah, I'll look into that afterwards. Thank you, that's really handy. So I don't have to type load every time. Ah, well, you see, the reason I have load in there is because it can do a whole bunch of other things. I've got a whole bunch of various bits and pieces that all run underneath the hood and allow me to do things like warp to a quest. I don't have any quests running at the moment, but it allows me to do lots of stuff. So here we go. Yeah, same thing. I'll accept that, no problem. Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I certainly did. I'm glad I've made some progress tonight, even though it was somewhat painful. These little fellas all having a laugh around here. Look, you can see the dodginess of the shader needs sorting out. Yeah, so yeah, I had a great time this evening. So thank you so much for joining me on the stream. I hope to do it again soon. It will be sporadic, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye. Have a great one.